And at the time, she was only 11 years old when she was kidnapped and drugged with jelly beans and flown on a private jet to New York. And that picture with the girl on Diddy's lap with the D&G sweater, that's her. She's 11 years old in that picture. They put those clothes on her.
What if one of the most powerful figures in entertainment finds himself in a situation so dire it feels ripped straight out of a movie? Should Diddy comes that hip-hop mogul, whose name is synonymous with success, wealth, influence, now finds himself behind the bars of a notorious prison. The charges against him, racketeering and trafficking, have shaken the entertainment world to its core. But what if the headlines only scratch the surface? What if Diddy's troubles in jail are far more severe than anyone could imagine?
But for people who have no concept of what going to jail is like, what is it like when you first go in there?
The first couple of days are heartbreaking because you're taken completely away from family. There's no interaction with anyone except prisoners or the guards. So you have no idea what to expect as far as going through things with the prisoner or the guards, because it can go either way when you first walk through those prison gates. So it's really, even for the toughest person in the world, it's scary because you just don't know what to expect.
And do you have all of your belongings taken away?
Everything. And I went in with extension braids in my hair. They made me sit in the cell and take every braid out of my hair before I was let into population.
I mean, for somebody like who's a billionaire beforehand, somebody like Diddy, it must be completely shocking.
It's actually, I don't think that MDC is for any human being at all. I mean, I'm not saying that no one belongs, you commit a crime, you have to wait to, your trial and everything else, but I don't think that jail is fit for anyone unless they clean up the conditions.
Lots of prisoners complain about lots of different jails and they say that the conditions are not up to scratch. What, in your opinion, makes the MDC stand out? What makes it worse?
What makes it worse is the food. Mostly everything is stale food, is old food that's donated by other people that they wrap up or they cook for you. Mostly everything they have is full of not roaches and the giant cockroaches. You can smell the mold, you can smell the rot, you can smell the jail that it needs to be rebuilt. It needs help. I don't think anyone should be in that particular jail.
There are lots of different people inside that jail. We know that there's a wing that houses high-profile prisoners, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, now P. Diddy's in there. Are you aware of the high-profile prisoners? Do you have any interaction with them?
I don't have any, and we never had interaction with high-profile prisoners at all.
And one of the main reasons that a lot of people know about the Metropolitan Detention Center was because it made headlines in 2019. And one of the issues they had was keeping their prison population warm. And it gets extremely cold in Brooklyn.
Well, in 2019, something went wrong. They had a power outage. They didn't have any water. They didn't have any lights. They didn't have any heat. And the mayor the city council tried to bring over blankets, and the warden wouldn't accept it. They were banging. My brother called me from a cell phone that was not supposed to be there. And he cried. He said, "Listen, I think I'm gonna die in here." So I panicked. I said, "What the hell?"
It all started when Diddy was denied bail despite offering a whopping $50 million bond. The court deemed him a flight risk, sealing his fate in one of New York City's most infamous detention centers, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. This is the same facility that housed notorious figures like R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, and even Jeffrey Epstein before his death. It's a place known for its squalid conditions where stories of cockroach infestations, freezing temperatures, and overflowing toilets are just the beginning.
Having problems with a prisoner, do I have to, call a lawyer or what can I do? He said, "No, I'm going to freeze to death." I said, "Freeze?" He said, "Yeah, we don't have no water." So I called the news station and made a whole big show. And I went down there and I, had to do something about it, not just for my brother, but for anybody. He was telling me that he thought his roommate was going to die because his feet was turning purple. They didn't give my brother his medication. No gas, no lights, no water, no heat for almost 2 weeks.
Just take me back to the moment, because I've seen the videos of you outside protesting. It is extremely impactful. You can hear prisoners shouting down from their cells saying, "We are freezing."
I screamed to the inmates. I said, "Everybody, please be quiet." And They stopped banging. I said, if you are freezing cold, bang on the windows. It was so loud you could hear it from blocks away. It was so loud, and it was, it was heartbreaking, for me to know that, my brother and other people were going through this.
Yeah, and look, I've spoken to your brother, Jason, about this incident. He shared with me some diary entries that he kept from that time. At one point, he wrote, I have socks on my toilet seat so that when I sit down, it will be warm. I mean, these are the sort of lengths that prisoners were going through.
It was horrible because, my brother's a man's man. So to hear him on the phone trembling like, I don't think I'm going to make it here, let me tell you what's going on, that was scary for me. I couldn't imagine, and at that time, it's funny because at that time, the news was, people were going up, picking up stray dogs, taking them off the streets and taking the bums off the trains and off the streets so they wouldn't freeze to death. But yet and still, you would allow these prisoners in that jail to freeze.
And look, we did ask the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a statement on what happened in 2019. They didn't directly address it, but they said they have an administrative remedy program for incarcerated individuals to seek formal review and redress of almost any concern they have regarding their incarceration. The Bureau of Prisons say the MDC should be safe, humane, and provide work and other self-improvement opportunities to assist offenders in becoming law-abiding citizens. Does the MDC, in your opinion, live up to what they say their prison should do?
Like I said, because you're in prison and you're serving time or you're waiting, to go to court or to go to trial or whatever it is, does not mean that you're not a human being. Just like what's going on with Diddy, he still deserves to be treated as a human being. He still deserves a fair trial, innocent before proven guilty. Whatever happened to that?
So how do you keep yourself entertained throughout the day? What do you do?
Well, I read books. I read books and I daydreamed a lot. Like literally just to keep my head on straight. I prayed a lot.
So we were just hearing from Katana Yehuda about what it's like to stay inside the Metropolitan Detention Center. Andrew Dalek is a New York-based federal public defender, and he's represented lots of clients who've served time there. Andrew, is it really as bad as people say?
Well, first, Anushka, I want to thank you and the BBC for taking an interest in the conditions at MDC Brooklyn. Because it is an important issue of significant public interest. Anybody who has a loved one detained in that facility, that they deeply care about their well-being and their safety there, and they have good reason to. It is as bad of a place as people say it is. But
Diddy's first day in NBC was nothing short of a stark contrast to his life of luxury. Reports revealed that his inaugural meal consisted of Swedish meatballs, with sides like green beans, egg noodles, and a garden salad. He had the option of a black bean burger, but it seems the meatballs won out. Imagine the man who once threw million duel parties, now confined to a cell eating meals that many wouldn't consider appetizing.
He fell down and he got shook, and I just stood on top of him, grabbed him, and next thing you know, NYPD was there.
Okay, so that situation happened. And then a bit after that, in Atlanta, Suge's best friend, Big Jake, gets killed in a club. And this part's kind of fuzzy, but there was a rumor that Wolf was the one that did it. Puffy got blamed for it, and so forth. But I guess Wolf wasn't the one who did it, but still there was some sort of blame that Suge had on Bad Boy over that situation, right?
I don't know if Suge had blamed Bad Boy for that, because the situation never came, when I got with him, the situation never came to us like that. Now, I've heard Wolf talk about it, and Wolf told me personally that he didn't do it. And I know everybody knew the guy who did it. It was this dude, he's dead now. He got killed in Atlanta about 2 or 3 years ago. His father was from the Bronx and he owned the cleaners. Now, did Wolf and them know him? Yeah, they probably knew him. He was from the Bronx, his part of town. His father owned the cleaners. They knew this guy. You understand? Him and Jake was arguing over this chick or whatever. Now, did Wolf do it? How could Wolf do it when he was next to Suge? He was right next to Suge when Jake got killed. But everybody want to say Wolf did it because that glamorized the situation.
Right. Okay. And then after that, Wolf actually reached out to you and asked you to come back to Bad Boy and help out with security.
Well, I told Wolf he had to straighten out his thing with Slick. We met on 125th Street, me, Slick, Rico, and Wolf. Him and Slick talked and everything, and it was cool and everything. So he said, yo, Gene, I need you to come because we need somebody who was in law enforcement or legal that could carry a gun and everything to be with us. He said, and if you ran after me, and this was his own words, because I didn't see it and I didn't know it at the time. You know, he said, if you ran after me and I had a gun in my hand, I want you on my team. I said, I don't fuck with Puff like that, bruh. He said, from the city college shit. He said, yo, you're gonna have your own contract. You're gonna have your own days. All you have to do is listen to me and make sure he good. I said, all right, man, we'll see. And that's when I went back.
Okay, so you joined the security team at Bad Boy with your own contract.
Right.
And Wolf was already over there, and Big Paul was over there as well.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, Paulie. And Paulie was kind of Puffy's everyday guy?
Yeah, Paul was the guy who Puff helped him set up a security company, had him set up a security company. So he did the security at the house, the apartment building or whatever, and Sean John, and over at Bad Boy and the studios. So he set up all the security for those places.
Life in MDC isn't just about bland meals. Former warden Cameron Lindsay provided a chilling glimpse into Diddy's daily routine. He wakes up at 6 o'clock a.m., makes his bed and cleans his cell floor with only 3 showers a week and an hour of free time each day. His once glamorous lifestyle has been reduced to a monotonous, regimented existence.
He's personal security as well?
Puff, that's all I did was Puff.
Okay, and I guess every so often, Puffy will put you with Big during certain events and so forth, right?
Well, like if we was on stage or Big was on stage, he felt threatened for Big, I guess. He said, yo, Gene, go watch Big. I said, all right, cool. It wouldn't matter.
Okay, so you doing some work for Biggie, did the two of you kind of form a relationship?
I think me and Big we formed a relationship on 2 occasions. One, when we was in DC doing Howard University. He made Puff shut the door down, and the people shut the door down, and it was D-Rock. I think D-Rock's birthday is the 17th, mine is the 16th of October, and he made him shut down the place, and just me and D-Rock bought like 5 outfits together, and then everybody else bought an outfit. And then Big used to just give me all the clothes that he didn't want. Like, you know, you had Nike, Lugs, you had Mecca clothing line. They would bring big boxes to Big everywhere he was at. And then he was like, yo, whatever he didn't want, he'd say, yo, D-Rock, you want this? D-Rock was like, nah, I don't want it. He said, yo, Big Gene, you want it? And then I was like, man, I'll take it and give it to the guys on the block, you know, who was with our part of our crew or whatever. But the kid was just good like that. And then we had a situation when we were in Atlanta that something was bought, and he thought I was gonna lie about it because Puff was trying to say it was his, and it wasn't his, it was Big's. And you understand? And when he said, and they had made a bet that I was gonna go on Puff's side. So when I got to the studio, I said, nah, Puff, you had that one, and Big had that one, and that's what it was. And Big looked at me, and you could see a smile on his face like, yo, this nigga's honorable.
Okay. And before all the drama began, did Tupac ever come around? Did you ever see Big and Tupac interact together?
No, I never seen Big and Tupac interact together. I seen Puff and Pac interact together, but I didn't see
really?
Big, yeah.
In what capacity?
Like we was at Roxy. They used to give functions and parties there. And then one time me and Puff walked up in there. It was, this was after Pac got shot and everything like that. And it was Pac and like 4 other guys. And Pac put a cigarette in his mouth. The dude lit the cigarette. I started laughing. I was like, who the fuck like a cigarette for? Like that. So then him and Puff talked, and that was it. It was nothing.
Okay, and then the incident happened at Quad Studios.
This was after the incident at Quad, when I seen Pac with Puff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when the situation happened at Quad, Biggie was recording, I think, with Lil Sean. And I think Puffy was there.
While his legal team works tirelessly to secure his release, Diddy spends most of his time in the jail's special housing unit, isolated from the general population for his safety. Why? Because being a high-profile inmate makes him a target someone others might harm for a badge of honor.
And those billions can't help him, right?
Right. He still did it.
Yeah, he still did it. Come on.
Well, I mean, I went through the filings and the reports. So what they say, according, to the feds, that recorded phone calls made by Diddy showed that he asked family members to reach out to potential victims and witnesses. Also urged them to create narratives to influence the jury pool. Also encouraged them to make marketing strategies to sway the public opinion. Diddy used the telephone accounts of at least 8 different inmates to avoid monitoring. He paid the inmates to intermediaries in violation of the rules, like you said, and he also was using 3-way calls and getting people on the phone, which is illegal. So basically what they said, the defendant has shown repeatedly, even while in custody, that he will flagrantly and repeatedly flout rules in order to improperly impact the outcome of the case. The defendant has shown, in other words, that he cannot be trusted to abide by rules or conditions. And I guess they actually found a note that inferred that he wants to blackmail victims and witnesses into silence by providing testimony, or into providing testimony that's actually helpful to his defense. So I guess what I'm wondering is, he does realize all this is being taped. You're using someone else's, privileges, but they're watching everything.
Okay.
A 3-way call, it's being recorded.
So my takeaway was much different from that. My takeaway was, I'm gonna wait for the government to file the superseding indictment, which we all believe is coming, because right now it looks a little thin. And it looks a little pathetic, I'm gonna be honest with you. Because yes, it's great to make Diddy look like this maniacal mob boss, which, of course he's using the influence of his money. But does anyone, again, it's good for the person who never ever dealt with someone in jail. How many inmates, and Vlad, no names here, how many inmates do you know that do 3-way call? They all do it.
Yeah.
They all do it.
I talk to inmates
and it's always
on cell phones while locked up in Rikers.
Exactly. And
not going to say who.
And no one is saying, yo, Vlad, this is to influence my case. Sometimes they just call, be like, yo, what's the word out there, man? Everything good? You're like, yeah, yo, I'm going to come home soon. It's all good. Blah. Sometimes it's never. So that I thought was a little bit thin. Obviously, they're trying to keep him in jail. Him putting money on other people's books. Yeah, he's a rich guy. He wants to have his privileges, right? Now, this whole thing of him trying to blackmail people, and I hate to even, because some people are going to be like, oh, no, he's getting Diddy's back. No, I'm defending someone who is, and this could be anybody, who's locked up and using whatever he can to his advantage to try.
This jail home, but the conditions of the prison are far from home. He notoriously described as, quote, dreadful. As one judge put it, some of the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants. There in April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived, and in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide and violence. Is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband. Had clients described NBC as hell as the worst conditions they've been in. Lance Clark is a federal defense attorney who's been there many times now. If the government, whether he's guilty or innocent, his time in MDC has already changed him, and his story is a chilling reminder that no one, no matter how powerful, is immune to the harsh realities of life. And thanks for watching this video, guys.